Y'all welcome aboard the Cajun yacht. So I know we've been getting a lot of new viewers joining us here lately, and been getting a few questions about the old home built boat we call the Cajun yacht. So I figured I'd do this little video, get into pretty in-depth details about it, what we're using for power, our battery setup, inverter setup, fuel capacity. We're gonna try to go through everything. That way maybe some of the questions y'all have will get answered. So we're gonna take a little time to do a complete tour, talk about pretty much all the functions, the different setups we got. So let's go ahead and we'll walk outside and we'll start on the exterior of the boat and work our way in. So looking at the overall boat, total length is 22 feet long. The beam around 7'11". And I get a lot of questions about the hull style and what type it is and all that. So this boat is a custom built boat, built all out of 316 aluminum, so pretty much homemade. It was built in 1970 and originally set up for shrimping. So we got it, completely de-rigged it, took all the shrimp gear off of it, and y'all can see what it is now. So cabin wise, the cabin was built all out of 3/4 treated plywood. Very little framing involved, being as the plywood was thick and sturdy. I went that route with it. So the cabin's complete 3/4 plywood, painted over once the wood, of course, dried. Had to let it dry out. Windows are RV windows all the way around. And on the roof, we put a elastomeric roof coating, which is a rubberized coating. We got about 4 or 5 coats of that on the roof, and it's sealed up pretty good. So let's go over to the top up here. So right here, I have two 200-watt solar panels. We have 400 watts on board. So that's what gives our power to our main battery, which is a 400 amp hour battery. So once we get in, I'll show you a little bit of my solar setup and everything that I got for it. So moving on to the back deck. So the back deck, from the back wall of the cabin to the end of the back deck, is around 7'11" and around 6'8", 6'9" wide. So I got enough room to fish off of, a little small cockpit area, do our fishing or whatever. Go around the motor, you can walk around the motor, get something in your wheel. It's easy to reach the prop. So I kind of like that setup. So let's go over to underneath the deck. Y'all can see here, that's where my 300 amp hour house battery is and my cranking battery for the outboard motor. So house batteries paired with the solar panels, going to a charge controller into a 3000 watt inverter. So we'll jump inside and we'll show you all the inside, and we'll talk about the inverter power a little bit more. As far as power, we're running a 60 Mercury command thrust, which is the bigger size lower unit, and it's a 4-stroke. Fuel mileage is anywhere from 7 to 9 miles to the gallon, depending on wind, current, all that good stuff, at a cruise speed of about 5.5 to 6 miles an hour. So that's about the fuel economy we get at those speeds. Wide open throttle, it'll do about 9 miles an hour. And won't quite plane off, but that's about what it does. So I'm pretty satisfied with that. Alright, y'all. Let's go over a little bit of what I use for power, as far as the cabin, AC, icebox, TV, lights, stuff like that. So to run the AC, nighttime, I got a 2000 watt little Ryobi inverter generator, which does really good. It's cheap on fuel. About a gallon a night I'll burn. During the daytime, I have a 400 amp hour self-heated Li-4 battery from Vetra Power, and I have that paired to a 400-watt solar system, which is I showed the outside, the 2 panels, and comes in to a charge controller. So let's swing over and look at that. All right, power coming from the solar panel comes straight into this box here. This is a little charge controller by Cajun. We got it hooked up 12 volt. You got the option of going 24 volt, but for our setup, we got it on 12 volt. And it pretty much show you what's coming in, your voltage, your amperage, all that stuff. So solar panel goes straight into this. This goes to the battery. So that's that part. That's what keeps our battery charged. So let's move over to the 110 side of things. All right, what we have down here is a Vetra 3000 watt power inverter. Puts out 110, runs off the 400 amp hour 12 volt battery. So when I don't have the generator running, this is where my 110 power comes from, and I can run the AC quite a few hours on this setup. But I generally use it a couple hours in the afternoon, and to keep the battery the next day be recharged, ready to go again for the next afternoon. So let's go ahead and fire it up right quick. Comes with a pretty cool little remote setup here. Alright, we got it fired up. Let's see if y'all can see the display. It might be hard with the camera, but anyways, it features a LCD screen, let you know your battery, how much battery life you got, how many wattage you pulling on it, stuff like that, temperature. Y'all come around right here. It's got multiple receptacles and another spot here if you got something that draws a lot of wattage. If you're getting close to like the full capacity of this thing, you want to wire directly into here, not the receptacles. Only thing I run off of this is my AC. So y'all can see I got a plug going in. Follow that around, goes into a receptacle box. That's where I plug my AC when I want to run off the battery power. Little 5000 BTU AC cools this thing down pretty good. So that's the Vetra Power 3000 watt inverter, and I'm pretty sure it's like a 6000 watt startup, so it don't even feel this little 5000 watt AC. So that's that setup. This paired up with the Vetra 400 amp hour self-heating battery does an awesome job. So I'll leave links to where you can get one of these, also the 400 amp hour battery that I'm running. So that pretty much takes care of the power setup I got on board. So let's go over a few other things, kind of the 12 volt stuff I got in here. So let me swing y'all slowly around here. For lighting, I'm using LED camper style lights. We got 2 of them in here, and you can switch one off or the other one off from here. Works pretty well. And over here at the helm station here, it's pretty much all my switches for everything. So I can turn the lights on and off from here. Got running lights, main spotlight, all that, all your 12 volt stuff. Up here, we got VHF radio. I got a backup camera, so when I'm running with all the doors closed, I get good visibility of what's going on behind me without having to look back and all that. So I got it fired up, and y'all can kind of see, I can see what's going on back behind me. So right here, I have an iPad holder, and I use Navionics for all my tracking, and if I want to make trails and mark different places. That's where my iPad mounts, easy to see while you're driving. Depth finder, fish finder, right there. Phone holder with the magnet charge on it. You just stick your phone in there and it charges your phone. Cigarette lighters right there for all that. And of course, controls for the outboard motor. steering wheel, little shelf up top to put different things. So that's pretty much the helm station. Little storage underneath there, enough room for my feet to go there when I'm cocked back. Couple little tackle boxes and stuff like that. So that's that part. So next to the helm over here, and we all the way at the front of the boat. Y'all can see this chunk of plywood right here I got. So this goes into the bow of the boat. So I simply slide that off, and y'all can kind of see in there, I ain't got no light in there, but got quite a bit of storage in there. Keep my extra oils and a couple tools, spare prop, stuff like that goes up in there. One day I'm gonna finish this thing and actually have a nice door right here. But for now, that's what we got. So the overall cabin length on this hull is right at 10 foot long. So 10 by around 7 foot wide is the cabin. So I'm gonna spin y'all around, show y'all a little entertainment center area. So we spin around this way, straight across from the helm, sitting in the captain's chair. Another window right there. Got my old guitar hanging on the wall. And we got that nice little 12-volt flat screen TV. Man, the only thing I got running on that, I have one of those 360 antennas. I'll throw a little quick picture of that. 360 antenna. When you get where you're going, hit auto scan. Finds all the channels in the area that you're in for that moment. Works pretty good. Gives you a little bit something to do when rainy days or at night. Watch a little TV. Couple local channels. So let's go ahead and move over to the old kitchen area where Captain J like to do his cooking. And I do a good bit of cooking. So let's go swing over and check that little section out. So right here y'all looking at Captain J's cooking station. The kitchen of the boat, if you want to call it. Start at the top, got my old paper towel rack. Little black iron skillet, cutting board hanging up there. Got a little small spice rack. More storage down low, keep a few more things. And I wanted a pretty good sized table to work in, because I do a good bit of homemade cooking. So I need a place to chop onions, cut meat, stuff like that. I wanted enough room to better do all that. We got just a basic Coleman camping stove, little 2-burner Coleman camping stove. Does the job, works pretty good. So right here, we got an old pot, couple pots right there. And for storage, we're using one of them old deals from Walmart, just a 3-drawer deal. Y'all can see plates, cups, paper plates, coffee cups, stuff like that in the top. In the middle one, I'll keep some pot lids and all my cooking utensils, knives, forks. Got that electric fish knife right there whenever I catch the more soup. Bottom drawer, I got Ziploc bags, trash bags, my knife rod sharpener, my knife sharpener, a couple little different things down there. Man, move over this way. We got this cool 12-volt or 110 powered freezer slash fridge. So I got the fridge side, which is I pretty much use all the time, and then on this side we have the freezer, which I don't use all the time unless I'm going on a big trip and I'm bringing extra meat and stuff to keep frozen. So this thing works very well. I run it off a 12-volt, running that off the big battery, off the big house battery. Don't draw much amperage. I think about 45 watts when it's running. And y'all can hear right now it ain't even running. So it's pretty efficient on battery. I mean, it barely burns anything. Maybe 6% I'll lose battery power overnight. And that's including running lights and TV. So the thing really doesn't draw that much juice. So that takes care of the kitchen side. So let's move over. I guess we're gonna go to the little pantry and then sleeping arrangements. So from the helm, we got the captain's chair. Right here is Captain J's bed. That's my bed. Man, I got storage underneath there. Use these milk crates, which works pretty good. And this is just one of them old Coleman yachts with extra padding and all that stuff. So works pretty good for me. And right here we have an extra one, and this one here is the one I use for Lil G. And I'll throw it down over there. I'll move the trash can to under there, fold that chair up, and we'll set Lil G up right there. Alright, so there y'all have our sleeping arrangements on board the little boat here. So we almost done. So let's head over right to the back on top of the feet of the bed here. And that's where I have my little pantry. Keep all my few tools in here, hatchets. Keep all my soaps and shampoos and stuff like that back up in there. I got Windex, dish detergent, all that kind of stuff. Keep a few groceries on board. Y'all can see my coffee station, coffee pot, extra coffee, little lemonade stuff, fish fry, different things like that. And up top, I'll keep most of my canned goods and backup food. Couple little things stored up there. Man, that's the back door. Walking out to the old back deck. That's pretty much my ice chest. Fuel tank right there. A little bit about the fuel tank. It holds approximately about 18 gallons. And I can go quite a ways on that. You know, 7 to 8, 9 miles to the gallon. 18 gallons goes quite a ways. And when I do bigger trips, I have a 14-gallon tank that slips down on the opposite side of the boat, which I only use that if I'm going on a big trip. Because most trips that I do, most of my smaller trips I burn anywhere from 4 to 8 gallons depending on where I'm going. Most of the time like 5 gallons is basically all I burn. But on bigger trips, I'll put a 18 plus another 14 on board. Like that one trip I did, 130 something miles. Did a 130 mile trip, spent about 5 days on the boat. I think I burned around 22 gallons on that trip. So that was a pretty fun trip, going through the Chafalá Basin and Morgan City and through some locks and all that stuff. So if y'all look through my playlist, I have that full trip on a playlist. Y'all can click on that and watch the whole trip. I also have a playlist of the build of this boat, building the cabin and all that stuff. So if y'all want to swing over, check that out. I'll leave links down below to those playlists if y'all want to check that out. So like I said, I got quite a few new viewers over the last 6-7 months since I've posted the first walkthrough tour of this boat. I've added quite a few things to the boat since then, so I want to give a little freshen up update. Everything I have on here. Solar setup, that's pretty recent, about a month, right out a month I guess I've been having that, 3 weeks, something like that. Ain't been that long since I've been having this set up. So that's the overall Cajun yacht. We have a lot of good times on this little boat. Just kind of goes to show you, you ain't got to go spend $150,000 to get out and enjoy yourself. You know, minus the motor. If you had to build it from scratch, I guess it would cost quite a bit. But if you can find a hull on Marketplace, find a cheap hull on Marketplace or old pontoon boat or something like that, build a similar cheap style cabin. Cabin didn't cost that much to build. I think it was 5 sheets of treated plywood basically, paint. And then of course I put interior paneling, and I put 1-inch foam insulation before the paneling. So I got 1-inch foam insulation, basically what my ceiling is, not covered. So it does pretty well for what it is. So pretty much has everything you need to spend some time out on the water. So we enjoy it. And for longer trips, I'm sure y'all wondering, well, how you bathe and all that? Well, I got an aluminum pot that we throw on the stove. We heat some water up, and we get on that back deck and we soap up and rinse off and freshen up that way. Kind of like the old days, but hey, it's better than nothing. I do have an on-demand horse shower that you would bathe the horse with, that I can mount on the back wall if you really want to take a shower. I do have that option too. So bathroom. Boy, I get that all the time, how to use the bathroom on the boat. Well, back to old school way. We got a bucket with an old seat. That's how we go. Take a old seat from Walmart. They got the cover and the lid. Pop it on there. Do what you got to do. Or you can go in the woods, dig your little hole, do what you got to do and bury it. So wintertime, we'll do that a lot. You ain't got to worry about all the bugs so much. So that's that. I think we just about covered everything, hopefully. And if I didn't, y'all can leave a comment down below for anything I didn't answer that y'all want to know, and I'll try to answer it there. So I appreciate y'all coming on the tour of the old Cajun yacht here. And it's been raining off and on today, but hopefully next time you see us, me and Lil G is supposed to take this boat out tomorrow, going on an overnight trip. Supposed to be nice weather. So until then, y'all be cool. Have a great week. Old Captain J on board the old Cajun yacht. We'll catch y'all later on. Peace.